Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It's your brother Osman, and I'm about to share with you some very, very valuable information that could inshallah change your entire life, and I mean that with no exaggeration. Have you seen that movie, The Matrix, where there's the two pills, that moment where Morpheus offers Neo the red pill or the blue pill? And the red pill allows Neo to see through the Matrix. He's able to see reality as it is. Subhanallah. It's like breaking free from the illusion, okay? And in the other hand, there's the blue pill, and it's basically like, go back to your comfy chair, live life the way you were living it, forget about all of this, and just be like everyone else. Which one would you choose? If you would choose the red pill, then this video is for you, okay? Because what I'm about to teach you is literally going to be the answer to 99% of your problems. And I mean that with no exaggeration, okay? This has changed my life. It's changed the lives of hundreds, if not thousands of people that I've taught it to. And you could literally be the next one to benefit from this teaching. It's called the surrender equation, okay? The surrender equation. How to release control and gain infinite peace through doing so, right? And it all starts with suffering, okay? Everyone suffers mentally, emotionally, in their relationships, with financial stress, whatever it is, okay? You get cravings that you're fighting against, you got habits that you want to be rid of, and they're stubborn, and you just can't seem to get rid of them, and you're wondering why. And when you get a craving, you're in an inner conflict with yourself for so long, back and forth, should I, shouldn't I, yes I should, no I shouldn't, and then you end up losing the battle inevitably. Or in relationships, you get into arguments and it's back and forth, fire on fire, and it only makes things worse, and it just takes you away from the person that you loved and that you do love so much, whether that's in marriage or your parents or your children or your neighbour, whoever it is. Could be a complete stranger. Or maybe you get thoughts that come into your mind that make you suffer, and you suffer with intrusive negative thoughts. You just can't get them out of your head. Inappropriate, weird ones, right? Really weird thoughts. They come into your brain. You think about them. You think, why am I thinking that? Am I a bad person? I shouldn't be thinking this. That's a wrong thought. And it just loops and loops around until you feel like you're insane. This is literally going to answer and help all of those problems and remove 99% of your suffering. And the red pill that I mentioned before is this. And if you can swallow this pill, it's the first step. 99% of your problems are self-created. You are creating your own suffering, right? Probably without realizing you're doing it. Or if you have already realized that you're doing it, congratulations. Okay, but then what can you do about that? We're going to talk about it right now. 99% of your problems are self-created. Okay, your suffering, your day-to-day suffering is self-created. And it all starts with the P word, pain. I don't know what P word you were thinking about, but it's pain. That's the P word that I'm talking about. We all experience pain in life. Okay, everyone experiences pain. There's no living life without experiencing pain. Okay, this is one of the dualities that Allah has encoded into this three-dimensional reality, three-dimensional existence, pleasure and pain. Okay, and we all experience pain on a mental, on emotional, on a physical level. We experience it. But pain does not necessarily need to equal suffering, okay? What I'm about to share with you right here, what I am revealing to you right here, is called the surrender equation, and that name will make sense very shortly, and it will literally get you smiling in seconds if you're able to apply it, which you will, inshallah, because it's very simple. So it starts with pain. There is something that doesn't go your way, or there is something that interacts with your body. It creates a sensation that is unpleasant, right? You experience a pain in some way, and then you resist it. You resist the pain. You miss the opportunity, and you beat yourself up for missing it. You say, why couldn't it have been another way? Why couldn't I have been another way? Or why did this have to happen? Or why did she say that? In other words, something happens and you fight against it. This is called resistance, right? Very few people, if not no one, is talking about this in the Islamic community. I'm here to bring the message, inshallah, and I hope that you can receive it very well and that you benefit from it. Resistance, it means squeezing against life, fighting against life, okay? In essence, without meaning to, saying, no, Allah, no, your plan is not perfect. My expectation about reality is how things should be, not the way that they actually are. It shouldn't be raining right now. It should be a sunny day. Okay? When no, Allah has decided that it's raining right now. Allah has decided that that person said something to you in such a way and you didn't like it. Okay? Or Allah has put a thought into your mind. The moment is as it is. And the moment, this moment right now, or that moment that you had trouble with, that you struggled with, it was and it is exactly as it needs to be. Okay? Allah's plan is perfect. Allah doesn't make mistakes. But when we resist Allah's plan and we think we know better, we suffer. And that suffering is not bad. Because every time we suffer, then we want to look for a solution to suffering. And that's why you're here, perhaps. You're looking for a solution to your suffering. And then what are you going to learn? You're going to learn something very interesting and ironic, in fact. Because you see, like I said earlier, not all pain needs to lead to suffering. In fact, just because you're experiencing pain doesn't mean that you need to suffer. The degree to which you resist your pain is the degree to which you will suffer. For example, if pain is 1 and resistance is 1,000, then suffering is equal to 1,000. But if pain is 1,000 and suffering, or resistance, should I say, is 0, well, for the mathematicians watching right now, let's just take a little look at this equation. 1,000 multiplied by 0. I had a client one time tell me that the answer to this was 1, and I was concerned for him. Please tell me that you're not thinking that the answer is 1. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. 0, nothing. In other words, if you do not resist, no matter how high the pain, could be 1,000,000 pain, if your resistance is 0, if you do not resist it, then your suffering will be equal to 0. Okay? And that's a very special case, in fact. And that's a skill that we want to practice as Muslims. Because if we follow the religion of Islam, the religion of surrender, the religion of submission to Allah, then we better know how to let go of control and resistance to the present moment. Okay? Why are we not happy as Muslims? Why is it that every Eid we ask mum or dad what they want for Eid and they say, peace. I just want peace. And why is it that they still don't have it? Is because they're running around, or you're running around life operating in such a way where you say, I'll be happy when things go my way. I'll be happy when I don't have any pain. When I don't have any pain in my life. But that's not the way. And in fact, if you change your approach to life now and you say, even if I have pain, I don't need to suffer. Because if I do not resist that pain, if my resistance is 0, no matter how big the pain is, no matter how difficult the struggle is, if I can surrender, if I can let go of that resistance, then my suffering is 0. So there's a very special case here. And if you're a beginner with this practice, then hey, it's okay. Try your best to reduce your suffering by reducing your resistance as much as possible until you hit 0. And when you hit 0, you've found peace. Or should I say, You've allowed peace. Because peace isn't out there. Peace isn't in the ice cream. Peace isn't in the cigarette or the weed or whatever it is. Peace isn't in whatever it is that you're trying to find it in. Peace is in your heart, inshallah. I know it sounds cheesy. But if you take the red pill, you accept that you are the one in charge of your peace. That you are the one that gets to decide whether you suffer or you don't. So, here's a little question that you can ask yourself. Next time you're in a situation where you're struggling, you're suffering, you're having a hard time, no matter how big or small, if the pain is 1 or the pain is 1,000, you can ask yourself a question. You can say, how could this situation be Allah's perfect plan? Allah's perfect offering to me in this moment, disguised as a problem. How could it be? Have you ever experienced this? Think about it. Have you ever experienced a difficult time in your life? Really difficult time, like a loss or a tragedy or an upset or something that really caused so much pain? Have you ever experienced how that ended up being a blessing in disguise? How do you know that every pain you experience is not a blessing in disguise? What if every pain was coming to you as an invitation to see if you can let go of resistance and experience peace that is unconditional? What if you could have unconditional peace? It is a practice. You don't get it overnight. Peace is not something you're entitled to as a human being. It is earned through the practice of surrender. When resistance equals 0, this is called surrender. And when you surrender, you're practicing Islam. You're practicing submission in the true sense of the word, not in just do this and don't do this, or this is right and this is wrong. That's important. That's important for society, 100%. We need a law. We need a divine law. That's what the Quran is all about. But submission is about accepting that this present moment, submitting, hey, Allah, you know what's best. Allah, you know what's best. I don't know what's best. You know what's best. Okay? Now, just quickly, let me explain how you would apply this teaching to a situation where you're getting thoughts that are very unpleasant and you're fighting with your thoughts, you're experiencing negative thought spirals, and these negative inappropriate thoughts or intrusive thoughts just won't stop. Well, you get a thought that comes into your mind, and what's the first thing that you usually do? You usually push against the thought and you say, go away. I don't want to think that thought. That's not a nice thought. You resist, you push, you fight. Okay, what is going to happen if we apply this principle or if we understand this principle? The more you resist, the more those thoughts will persist over you. Okay, so this takes courage and this takes faith. But if you're able to stop fighting with your thoughts, stop adding more nafs to the nafs, more ego to the ego, and instead sit with your thoughts, breathe deeply and slowly. Do not try to run away from them. Do not try to divert your attention away from your thoughts or your emotions. This could be emotional too. But rather, divert your attention directly towards your thoughts and your feelings. If you do this and you don't try to push or fight or change, and you're not resisting, but you're rather just observing. Okay, you're just watching like a bystander. You're watching this like you're watching a movie. Okay? If something happens on the TV, you don't get so emotionally involved to start fighting the TV or start arguing with the TV because the TV said something you don't agree with. Maybe you do. Maybe you do shout at the TV. Okay? What I'm suggesting you do is you just watch the TV. Just watch the screen of your mind, the screen of your experience. Thoughts come in, you notice them. That is it. Don't try to control. Don't try to remove, don't try to do anything with your thoughts or your feelings. Just observe them. Okay, this isn't about trying to be happy all the time. Like we said, true peace is when you accept pain, not try to eliminate pain. We're eliminating suffering. We're not eliminating pain. We're at peace even in the midst of pain. Okay? So quick invitation, if you are a professional or an entrepreneur and you're either on the path of Islam but struggling with your deen, or returning to the path of Islam after years of deviation and indulging in the world, or you're completely new to the path of Islam and you want my help, then DM me the word peace on Instagram. You'll find a link in the description and I'll send you the information for the next steps. If you are serious, not just curious, about taking this teaching and integrating it into your life, so it's not just a theoretical concept, another video to consume, but rather a direct lived experience day to day, abundant peace in your life, in your marriage, in your relationships, in your faith, your connection to Allah, in the way that you show up in your life. DM me the word peace. I'll send you the next steps. And with that being said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.